talk about some things that I'm going through that I chose not to get on camera and talk about until it was over or almost over. If this doesn't go up the day that I recorded, it will go up the day that my son is home. And the reason why I'm choosing to talk about it is because I've spoken to my attorney, and my attorney said that the prosecutor is for the baby coming home because he heard that I did my case plan and that I hit the ground running with it. The judge doesn't believe that I am who I was 10 years ago. I've learned a lot, obviously. I had a baby back December the 4th. Today is February the 4th. And he was due January 15th, sorry. And I ended up having him early by going to the doctor. I was having too many contractions because now with pregnancies, they do something a little different. They didn't used to do that back in the day. But you go to your regular doctor's appointment. Once you get so far, they send you down and monitor your contractions to see if you even, or if you're having any, how close they are in case you need to go in labor early. I went in labor early, December the 4th, at about like 3 something in the p.m. And I gave birth to a little baby boy named Ezekiel Javion. And he was born weighing 4 pounds and I think 3 ounces. I'm not sure. I forgot what the ounce was, but I know he was 4 pounds. Everything was going smooth. I did my epidural, got through the C-section, went to my recovery room. I want to say the 3rd day that I was in the hospital, I get a call. And she's like, "Hi, can I speak to Celestine?" I'm like, "Yes, this is she." Now, when the call popped up on my phone screen, it said Summit County in all caps. But it didn't say what agency, whether it was Job and Family Services, whether it was the WIC office, because WIC office pops up as that. Anything government comes up Summit County in all capital letters with a dash, but it doesn't tell you what Summit County. It could be Summit County Child Support. It could be Summit County WIC. It could be anything, or the birth certificate place calling to let you know or get information about the baby's birth certificate because you've just had a baby. So when I see the bold Summit County letters, I answer the phone. And when she says, "Is this Celestine?" I'm like, "Yes." She was like, "Oh, this is so-and-so from Summit County Children's Services." When I tell you my heart was beating really, really fast, that's what I mean. When I tell you I wanted to throw up all over the place, that's what I mean. So in that moment, I immediately start going through this life adversity right in the moment, right when I'm in a hospital after I done just had a baby, like a mess. So I immediately get on the phone with my child's father and I say, "Hey, get to the hospital now." I said, because a lady from Children's Services just called my phone and she's coming to the hospital and she says it's just to see how me and Ezekiel are doing. So she asks for my hospital room and she comes. She gets to my hospital room. She asks me a few questions and she says, "This is a dependency case." And I'm like, what the hell is a dependency? I'm confused because you calling me while I'm in the hospital. I ain't done nothing. I said, "What is going on?" And she's like, "Well, it's nothing you did with the baby. He's fine. You're not neglecting him or anything. You don't have a case with him. You had a case 11 years ago. And the fact that you weren't able to gain custody of them back is why we're coming." So I'm like, okay. The lady, she comes to my hospital room. At that time, I have my friend with me, and she's at the hospital with me. And she's like, "I'm not leaving until this lady comes." So I'm like, well, while we waiting on the lady, let's go to the NICU and see the baby. So we go to the NICU, we see the baby. She's pushing me in a wheelchair because my legs are still numb from the C-section. And she pushes me to the NICU. I see my baby. We see him for a minute. And I'm like, she said she'll be here at 2 o'clock. Let's get back down to my hospital room, right? So she's like, all right. She turned me around in my wheelchair. We going down the hall. We see a lady that looks like she could be a social worker, but she doesn't have on a social worker badge. And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck that look like a social worker? But I hope she just keep going. So when she wheeled me past, my friend says, she give me social worker vibes. And I'm like, oh my God, I just said that to myself in my head. And we get to the room. We don't say anything. She was like, shh, because she just looked like a social worker. She looked like that could be a social worker. She came in and out of that area of the hospital so fast, we didn't know if it was her or not. So we go back in the room, and it's a knock at my hospital door like 2 minutes later. And it's her. Come to find out, it was the lady that walked past us that was the social worker. She walks in, she's like, yeah, it's just a pending case, it's nothing you did wrong. Now, mind you, my friend that's in the hospital room with me is also my children's father's children mother as well. We're friends. So she like, when he on his way, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna leave. So she's like, oh, she's standing there. I'm like, wait, let me call my children's father or whatever. So he like, stop talking to that lady, don't say nothing to her, and I'm on my way. So I'm like, all right. He gets there, but right before he gets there, his other child's mother walks out of the hospital. When my friend walked out in, I'm surprised they didn't miss each other. That's how. And he walked in. Before he walked in, the social worker walked out like she was scared or something. And I guess she didn't know if my children's father was making her nervous or something. That's what I'm assuming. But he walks in while she's still out of my hospital room. And he walks in. I'm like, she here. I don't know where she went. But she walked out the room a few minutes ago. And so he goes in the hallway and he's like, you gonna come in here or not? So she comes in and we get to talking. She's like, oh, it's nothing she did wrong with the baby. It's just that she had kids prior that she lost custody of. And we are questioning if she could care for Ezekiel. Now, mind you, my other kids were taken when they were 5, 4, and 2. So obviously I raised them from infantry by myself all the way up into those ages, and then they were removed for failure to thrive. Come to find out, since I've had this case, that failure to thrive is only with infants, it's not with toddlers. So they took my toddlers for failure to thrive because I had been taking them to the doctor. They were on Pediasure, and the doctor wasn't seeing the amount of grams that they were gaining. So he said, threatened me and was like, oh, I'm gonna call the children's services place, because if they don't gain a certain amount of grams the next time I see you. So when I go back home, I'm like, he just threatened to put my kids in the system. I said, oh no, we're not doing that. So I changed doctors and went elsewhere for a whole year. So the doctor that threatened me didn't see me for a year. So I changed doctors and let the new doctor know, like, you know, they on Pediasure, they're failure to thrive. At the time, I didn't know failure to thrive was not for toddlers, only infants. And that's something that they're fighting with this case that I have with my newborn baby too as well. She's standing there and she's like, they want to know if you know how to care for an infant. How many, like, one of the questions they want to know is how many times do you feed an infant? And I said every 2 to 3 hours. She asked me another question. No, she asked me, she said, when you lay a baby to sleep, how should they sleep? They should sleep on their backs, not on their stomachs, because they cannot breathe, and no blankets and no pillows. I'm like, okay. And so they're like, she's like, we're going to have a meeting on the 12th, and we want you to come. And at the time, it was like the 7th. So we go December the 12th. We sit at this meeting around this table. Do you know when we sat there, me, my children's fathers, I had a meeting with Help Me Grow. I had a worker with Help Me Grow. I had a worker through 2 or 3 other companies, and they all came to the meeting too, just to show that I also went to a parenting class for shits and giggles, because I wanted to. And so that is kind of what's saving me with this new case too. So what happened was, I'm like, we get to the end of the meeting. I'm like, oh, it's selling smooth. They just gonna want to knock on my door, want me to open the door and come check in on the baby for like a month or two, and then they'll peace out. I asked these people. I said, everything I did was self-motivated on my own. Nobody told me to do it. I didn't have a case where I had to do it, where I was mandated to do it. I said, can everything stay self-motivated? Meaning, can I continue to do what I'm doing on my own? I don't need you to tell me, give me a case plan and tell me what to do. So they're like, no, we're afraid not. We're going to ask that you keep doing what you're doing. And we want you to move in with someone, or someone to move in with you 24 hours, or we are going to remove the baby. That ain't all they wanted. They wanted, when they leave my house, I go with them. Or I leave their house. No. Yeah. When I leave their house, I go with them. If they leave, I can't stay in my own house with my baby by myself. They have to take the baby with them. Or if I'm staying with them, when they leave, I got to follow behind them. And when they go somewhere, they got to take the baby and not leave the baby with me unsupervised. When I tell you, I don't have no family, no friends, no support like that could support that kind of stuff that they was asking. I was like, whoa. And it's December, it's wintertime, and you asking me to take my newborn infant, who was a preemie, out back and forth in the cold every time somebody got something to do and handle their business. You're interrupting other people's lives. And you want me to go live with somebody else, or somebody live with me, to be up underneath me while I got my baby. Okay. So, boom. I get a text from the social worker, and she says she needed my child's father to call her and see who was going to stay overnight with me at my house. Should I keep the baby in my custody? Because they were trying to keep the baby in my custody. And he didn't want me living with him because he said he couldn't, and his landlord. But I don't give a damn. Father, if you a dad, you gonna do whatever you gotta do to save your baby. That's where me and him fell out at. Because I was like, what the fuck? And another thing, I think they're noticing now that you're making me pay and have an open case with y'all because of some kids that I lost 11 years ago. That was 11 fucking years ago. Do you know how old these children are? They're grown. One will be 18 in quite very little months. And one is already 18, soon to be 19. And my 15-year-old is here in the city with us, with her father, who they asked to take the baby that I just had, which is his as well. And y'all making me pay for something that happened 11 years ago. And my baby paid for it too, like he asked to be here. So, I went to court. My attorney is on it. He cross-examining the hell out of shit. He like, hey, did you graduate school? And I'm like, yeah. And I also graduated with a 3.8. And he like, have you did the college? And I said, yes, I went to college and I graduated from this and blase, blase. He like, you do understand that some of this is about your past, right? And I'm like, yeah. And is it true that you went through some trauma and some turmoil and some things in life? And I say, yes. And I went through 35 different foster homes and I've been through a lot of stuff. But that's neither here nor there because my past shouldn't reflect how I take care of a baby. We not doing that. And so, just this Thursday, I got good news that the prosecutor, and the prosecutor is actually supposed to be against you and prosecute you for what you did if you did something wrong, or prosecute the case to where they hold on to the baby for the year. Because they're telling me my baby could possibly not come home for a year. And I'm like, I had this baby. This baby was planned. This wasn't no accident baby. My other 3 kids I wasn't trying to have. That wasn't, they just happened. This one was planned. And so, like, I was looking forward to him. Boom. So, I just talked to my attorney this Thursday. He said, hey, I want to let you know that I talked to the attorney. The attorney is trying to see what we could do to send the baby home early. He's been out of my custody since he got home from the NICU. He didn't even make it home. They took him from the hospital. The day we went up to the hospital, we tried to rush up there before they took him. And I literally called the hospital to check on him while he was in the NICU. And it was like, is there something I can help you with? Like, I don't got no right to call. They was like, well, you don't no longer have, he's not in your custody. He's in the custody of the agency. And you cannot call up here and see his status or what's going on with him, basically. I'm like, this can't be real. So they took my baby from the NICU around the 21st of December. And he's been gone ever since. I see him on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And he's with a Caucasian lady. I've been depressed, been in a funk, which is why I haven't been doing a video. I kind of been trying to hide the fact of what I'm going through. Literally, I'm like literally trying to hide it because I'm embarrassed about it because it's happening to me a second time, and this time it's for no reason. I didn't even get a chance to make a mistake with this baby at all. They just took him because of 10 years ago. So that's kind of like what's been going on and why I haven't been on camera, but I just wanted to come on here and discuss with y'all my current turmoil and adversity that I'm currently going through right now. It's painful. I go to court on the 16th of February. Today is the 4th of February. And I'm praying that he comes home on the 16th and it just turns into a protective supervision order. Protective supervision, which I don't mind, which means he'll be home. But when they knock on my door, I have to open the door. And so hopefully I can just kind of vlog that. Or just vlog like, okay, today's the day where Children's Services is coming. I got to knock on the door. It's Children's Services. I got to go open the door so they can check on the baby until the case is closed. One thing about this case is that I did parenting classes ahead of time. My baby has everything. There's a stack of diapers from size 1 to newborns, a box of wipes with like 864 wipes and 12 packages of wipes. His bassinet is sitting right there in front of me. His stroller is out there, and his bathtub and everything he needs. He has clothes. The social workers came out here and was like, he does have everything. He has everything he needs to come home. You're prepared for him. I was prepared for him since I was 6 months pregnant and finished up preparing at 7.5 months. He had everything he needed the day he was born. The day I went into the hospital, I was ready for him to come when I was like 8 months pregnant. I was ready. And so he's not here. I see him twice a week. And I'm praying for him to come home. And if y'all some prayer warriors, do me a favor, pray for me, because it's not easy to go through. And it's very painful because I looked forward to having my child in my home. So just pray for me, and that's that. And I'm gonna kind of like vlog the journey. I really can't vlog the visitations when I go to the center, but I really like my social worker that I have that's working with me now. She's really sweet. She's very encouraging. Anytime I text her, she texts me. They're sending me through a psychological evaluation, which whatever the fuck, whatever. So yeah, that's currently what's going on, and the story of what happened with my baby and what I'm currently going through right now. So if you have anything negative to say, keep it to your damn self, because don't nobody want to hear that shit, because we all human and we all go through struggles. So if you don't got nothing to say nice, don't say it at all. And if you don't have any words of encouragement, rather than to swipe somebody down, then you need to think about it before you say it. And